I'm Russ Mitchell, and tonight a CBS News exclusive. Our Lara Logan is there as NATO forces launch a major new assault against the Taliban in Afghanistan, trying to put down the enemy's spring offensive before it begins. Also tonight, the government orders a big change in the way cars are built to keep them from going out of control in an emergency. We have a brand new look at the impact of immigration in America, the gains and the strains. And birds do it, bees do it, but pandas? Not without some help. The mating game, tonight.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening. Katie is off tonight, and we begin with an exclusive report from the front lines in Afghanistan, where U.S.-led NATO forces are now launching a major new offensive against the Taliban. Since 2001, more than 540 NATO troops have been killed in the war, 190 last year alone, the deadliest year. This year, NATO is taking the fight to the Taliban. In the past 24 hours, the Allies airlifted hundreds of troops from their base in Kandahar into the Sangin Valley, where hardcore Taliban forces are concentrated. Our chief foreign correspondent, Lara Logan, is the only television reporter to witness the beginning of the battle. We have two reports, beginning with Lara's exclusive account as NATO guns opened up.
Fire! The thunder of these British guns marked the start late Wednesday night of an ambitious NATO operation to drive the Taliban out of the town of Sangin in southern Afghanistan. As they fired, U.S. forces from the 82nd Airborne were dropped into Helmand Sangin Valley under cover of darkness. Daylight saw a Canadian 155 howitzer airlifted into this big multinational fight under the banner of NATO. The combat mission here, in many ways, redefining the organization's more traditional peacekeeping role.
I'm not getting that corner there and cover those doorways.
British forces have carried most of the burden in Helmand since moving into the area last summer.
Go on,
Get stood there with a gun, mate. Just drop the legs.
Today, Royal Marines set up blocking positions to prevent the Taliban reinforcing their fighters facing U.S. troops further north. They say they're fighting two wars here, one against the Taliban and the other against the drug trade that finances them.
These poppy fields are at the center of the fight in southern Afghanistan, where U.S. and British forces are leading NATO's battle against the Taliban for control of this vital area.
It is here that most of Afghanistan's poppies are processed into opium and heroin.
I think this area, the Sangin Valley, is essential. And once we do control this area, then things in Helmand will be going much more in our favour.
The Taliban are proving to be a resilient enemy. They control large parts of territory in Helmand province, where the terrain is rugged and difficult. Since being defeated 6 years ago, they've come back stronger than ever, mostly thanks to the sanctuary they've enjoyed across the Afghan border inside Pakistan.
We are inevitably always chasing ghosts, as we say. It's difficult to differentiate between local people and the Taliban.
The aim of this operation is to regain control of an important town and restore security so rebuilding can begin, something the lack of security here has so far prevented. Unless the Taliban are defeated, everything U.S., British and other NATO forces have achieved here is under threat, along with the stability of the Afghan government. Lara Logan, CBS News, in the Sangin Valley, Helmand Province, Afghanistan.
I'm David Martin at the Pentagon. There are now 47,000 NATO troops in Afghanistan, more than half of them American. Over the past several months, the U.S. alone has pumped in an additional 5,000 troops to aid the government of President Hamid Karzai in its battle against the Taliban.
I wanted to make sure that with our focus on Iraq, that we did not take our eye off the ball in Afghanistan either.
But this is a battle that will drag on long past this spring's offensive.
To make Afghanistan into a whole and relatively free state under the rule of law probably will take 10 years.
Harlan Ullman, an advisor to NATO, says Afghanistan today is in danger of becoming a failed state, much like it was when Osama bin Laden used it as his base of operations in the years before 9/11.
It's not just the Taliban that has to be defeated. First and foremost is an out-of-control drug trade whose illegal profits fuel rampant corruption among government officials.
If that can't be done, all the military forces in the world cannot keep Afghanistan from failing.
One of those two aircraft carriers, which had been sent into the Persian Gulf as a warning to Iran, has now left the Gulf and is flying missions in support of the spring offensive. Compared to what the Taliban have to fight with, it might look like no contest. But Afghanistan is a war with no end in sight. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
Government safety officials did something today they say could save more than 9,000 lives every year in this country. They ordered car makers to install what was once only an expensive option in every single vehicle by the 2012 model year. How will it help? Here's our CBS News transportation and consumer safety correspondent, Nancy Cordes.
It's been called the greatest safety advance since the seatbelt. Watch the difference on this wet road. The test car on the top has electronic stability control. The one on the bottom does not.
The electronic stability control has the potential to save thousands of lives every year.
So today, the U.S. Transportation Secretary announced strict new regulations. Electronic stability control in every new passenger vehicle by model year 2012. Electronic stability control, or ESC, is a step up from anti-lock brake systems. When a driver swerves suddenly, sensors apply brakes to individual wheels to keep the vehicle from spinning out of control. Stability control is already a standard feature on 90% of all new SUVs, but fewer than half of all other new vehicles come equipped with it, so the automakers will have to move quickly to comply with the new rules.
You need the regulation to get the manufacturers to put it in the economy cars, the smaller sedans that will benefit from this almost as much as an SUV.
American and Korean automakers have lagged behind the Germans and Japanese.
We all know that it is a really very strong safety feature.
So why not make it standard right away?
We try to make affordable cars.
But car experts say the new rules shouldn't drive auto prices up by much, about $100. A lifesaver for less than the price of a luggage rack. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, New York.
The best safety feature in any vehicle is, of course, a safe driver. And using stats from the government and the insurance industry, Men's Health magazine has determined the safest drivers can be found in Des Moines, Iowa, followed by Jersey City, New Jersey, and believe it or not, New York, New York. The worst drivers, Columbia, South Carolina. Billionaire Kirk Kerkorian once tried to buy the Chrysler Corporation, but lost out to Daimler-Benz. Now with Chrysler struggling and Daimler looking to unload, Kerkorian said today he wants to buy it. He is offering $4.5 billion. That's about a quarter of what he bid the last time around. We have news tonight about big changes that are happening all over America. A new Census Bureau report shows the impact immigration is having on our metropolitan areas. So far this new century, immigrants helped the population of the New York City area grow by nearly 500,000. Without them, as many native-born Americans left the city, the population would have fallen by nearly 600,000. In Los Angeles, immigration meant a net gain of more than 500,000 people, rather than a loss of 213,000. Atlanta saw the biggest jump in population of any metro area, up nearly 900,000. But there, it was not just immigration swelling the population. We have two reports on the impact, positive and negative, of these population shifts. Sharon Alfonsi begins our coverage of the new America.
12 million immigrants came through Ellis Island, America's front door. But today, it's those sneaking in the back door, costing the country $26 billion a year. Last year, at this hospital in Dallas, illegal immigrants got $50 million worth of free health care.
They're getting, any service that you can imagine.
Frustrated with ER backups and the burden to taxpayers, county officials started sending out bills to Mexico.
If we're rendering the care, they should at least pick up the invoices, the bills.
Nationwide, it's a big bill. More than $4 billion a year for health care. In Los Angeles, a census found more than 20% of inmates, about 40,000 people, are illegal immigrants. Cost to taxpayers, $97 million a year. Immigration, legal and illegal, is costing the nation billions of dollars each year. For the prison system, $1.6 billion, $1.9 for food assistance programs, and $1.5 billion for federal aid to schools. Still, educators say they're stretched thin. Tax dollars are often diverted away from improvements to accommodate the special needs of a growing number of immigrant children. In less than 50 years, we'll have 50 million more immigrants. It's an issue that reaches as deep into our national psyche as it does into our pockets. Sharon Alfonsi, CBS News, New York.
I'm Sandra Hughes in Los Angeles, where immigrants like Francisca Molina help fuel America's economic engine. She works as a nanny. Her husband works construction.
You've been fixing it up little
Together, they own a duplex.
We pay taxes, we pay insurance, we are, giving good education to our kids.
The Molinas are citizens now. Alex Vega isn't legal, but he pays property taxes too.
I'm 45 years old. I got 10 children. I have a business. I own a house.
The feds don't know exactly how much immigrants, legal and illegal, contribute to the economy. But consider this. In the decade ending last year, 10.7 million people who didn't have Social Security numbers, most of them immigrants, paid more than $50 billion in income taxes. Working jobs that some people born in the U.S. may be reluctant to take.
People say, I'm not going to go wait tables for a living. Maybe that's beneath me, or I'm not going to go wash dishes, or I'm not going to be a cook.
The growing immigrant population is expected to help cushion the economic blow when baby boomers retire, and they're also the ones who will be caring for the aging and ailing boomers.
We have dietary workers, housekeeping, laundry, nursing, and all healthcare professionals
that I will support and defend.
Yesterday in San Diego, several dozen immigrant members of the military became U.S. citizens. Another reminder how much they're willing to give to this country. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
There is much more CBS News ahead, including Florida and presidential elections again. The move today by Florida's governor that could have a big impact on Campaign 08. An FBI agent was shot to death this afternoon in New Jersey. A team of agents had been investigating a string of bank robberies in the state when they came face to face with 3 suspects leaving a bank. There was a shootout, the agent was mortally wounded, and the suspects fled. Police captured 2 of them. The search is continuing for the 3rd. The state of Florida today paved the way for hundreds of thousands of ex-cons to get their voting rights back. As Kelly Kobiea tells us, this could have a big impact on the 2008 presidential election.
Pleased by what my fellow cabinet members helped us do for justice today.
For Governor Charlie Crist, this is a historic step toward a modern Florida. The governor, with the help of the State Clemency Board, effectively did away today with a 139-year-old law steeped in Jim Crow that stripped ex-felons of their right to vote and hold professional licenses.
It's a matter of fundamental fairness and doing what's right.
Nearly 1 million people in Florida, like ex-felon Brian Dennis, who makes a living washing trucks and cars, but dreams of being a lawyer. He was convicted of aggravated battery and dealing drugs more than a decade ago.
What does the governor's action in a practical sense mean for you?
In a practical sense, it means forever. It allows me and several other people, thousands of other people, to have the right to vote, and not only have the right to vote, but to pursue professional careers.
Dennis wasn't allowed to vote in the contested presidential election of 2000. The race Democrat Al Gore lost by just 537 Florida votes. It wasn't just felons who were turned away that year. An unknown number of Florida's black voters were mistakenly labeled as ex-cons and denied ballots. But in righting a civil rights wrong, Governor Crist, a Republican, may have turned his red state blue, handing the advantage to the Democrats in the next presidential race.
Based on turnout and the voting patterns, that you would see about 80,000 additional votes net gain for the Democrats, which in a state as evenly divided as Florida could make all the difference.
Not every ex-felon is included. Those convicted of murder or sex crimes don't qualify, and only those who have paid full restitution and completed their sentences will be handed a ballot. Kelly Kobiea, CBS News, Miami.
And now let's take a look at some stories making news overseas. 15 British sailors and Marines were flown home today. There were hugs and kisses as they were reunited with family members after being held for nearly 2 weeks by Iran. Prime Minister Tony Blair says there was no side deal to win their freedom. And by the way, after a quick rest, the 15 will be heading back to active duty in Iraq. And there was a rescue today off the Greek island of Santorini. A cruise ship struck a reef and it took on water. More than a dozen ships were used in the evacuation. Many of the 1,100 passengers were American college students on spring break, but the good news is nobody was hurt. Up next, a panda with a fertility problem. No wonder, no privacy.
Can you have that?
There is yet another pet food recall tonight. This time it's Old Roy brand dog biscuits sold by Walmart. The biscuits were made with the same tainted wheat gluten linked to the deaths of at least 15 dogs and cats. Menu Foods, meanwhile, has now expanded its recall to include pet food made as far back as November 8th. Tonight, the FDA says all bad batches have been identified and they do not expect any more recalls. For one panda in Washington tonight, it's all about the appetite for love. Here's Thalia Shuris.
Springtime and romance is in the air. For the National Zoo's giant panda Mei Xiang, the only time for loving.
Mei Xiang.
Female pandas ovulate once a year, and there's just a 2-day window to fertilize that egg.
The timing is the most critical challenge.
Pandas are notoriously ineffective breeders, so zookeepers leave nothing to chance. CBS News got unprecedented access as the team tried to pinpoint Mei's perfect moment for mating.
Good girl, that's right.
Bribing the bear with food so they could examine her.
And we are very ready.
And measuring hormone levels in her urine. It's the first time Mei's ovulating since giving birth to her only cub in 2005.
Back then, Papa Bear was the National Zoo's Tian Tian. In the panda world, his genes are quite common, not a good thing when the species is endangered. The goal is to find new blood to prevent inbreeding.
The problem with inbreeding is that the bad genes may rise to the top.
Meet the new man in Mei's life, super stud Gao Gao of the San Diego Zoo.
He's got great sperm, so yeah, he's a super stud.
Great because Gao was captured in the wild, bringing new and unique DNA to the worldwide panda breeding program. That means his DNA, paired with Mei's, will increase the panda gene pool, helping ensure the bears don't become extinct.
One breeding is a big deal, and it does change the genetics and the dynamics of the population.
But the cross-country romance has been complicated and not at all romantic. The two pandas won't even meet. The deed is done by artificial insemination, using the precious cargo carried from California in a metal can. Finally, overnight, it was time. The sperm and egg were brought together. We'll spare you the details. And the romance was consummated.
I think we had perfect timing. The semen quality was excellent.
Did it take? Well, it's also hard to know when pandas are pregnant. It could take 5 months to find that out. Thalia Shuris, CBS News, Washington.
Just chewing.
The Masters, like golf itself, may be steeped in tradition, but the clubs are becoming extremely high-tech. Here's Mark Phillips.
It's supposed to be a simple game. Hit the ball with the stick and knock it into a hole. And for a long time, as the old equipment in Britain's golf museum shows, it was simple. Wooden clubs, balls stuffed with feathers.
After the last feathers were inside, the hole was sewn up.
Now, though, science has arrived, and the old game may never be the same. A special kind of science.
You know that phrase that's often used to describe something that's really not that complicated? It's not rocket science. Well, this actually is, and they've actually brought in a rocket scientist to prove it.
He's Steve Otto, formerly of NASA, now doing with golf balls here what he did with missiles there.
It's very similar. There's a lot of aspects of what we do that crosses over to rocket science.
At the Royal and Ancient Golf Club at St Andrews, Scotland, where golf was born, they now use a robot to measure the performance of clubs and balls. A modified missile tracking system keeps score.
The speeds are a little lower, but there's enough complication there to keep the supercomputers going.
They have to go to these lengths because the manufacturers keep coming up with gear that makes the balls go farther. So far, that courses have had to be made longer because the pros are making them look too easy.
He went after it, folks, and he hit it right.
Even the amateurs are getting the benefit, sort of. This was comedian Bill Murray, warming up for a recent Pro-Am event and speaking one of golf's essential truths.
They can hit the ball farther, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I hit the ball a mile. I'm an athlete, gifted. I hit it a long ways. It doesn't mean I score. You got to be able to make the putts.
It's got to fall in the hole.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful backswing. Oh, he got all of that one.
But then Bill has been a golfing rebel for a long time.
It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
The same number of people take up golf every year as quit golf and give it up forever. You think changing the ball is going to affect that?
The frustration level stays the same.
Yeah, I think we need psychological help more than technological help.
Which may be why that robot doesn't have a head. Mark Phillips, CBS News, St. Andrews, Scotland.
And you can see the Masters this weekend, Saturday at 3:30 Eastern Time, Sunday at 2:30, right here on CBS. And that is the CBS Evening News for tonight. For Katie Couric, I'm Russ Mitchell. Thanks for watching. I'll see you first thing tomorrow on The Early Show. Good night.